Being born and raised in Santa Claus, Indiana, this video is going to be a wonderful one for me to make. If you enjoy the history of Santa Claus as much as I do, please make sure you watch this video and stay tuned. We love doing videos of work, living, and playing in Southern Indiana, and today I'm going to do a history tour with a very special guest. So come on in and join us at the Santa Claus Museum. If you're new to our channel, make sure you subscribe to that YouTube button and click that bell. We don't want you to miss future videos that we're doing here in Southern Indiana all the time. Come on into the museum with me and let's meet the chief elf herself. This will be a fun one. Carrie Hinshaw from Key Associates Signature Realty, and I have Mrs. Koch with me, and it's a very big privilege. I have been born and raised in Santa Claus, looking up to this lady, which is the chief elf and many other titles of this town, is going to take us around the Santa Claus Museum and tell us her favorite stories and memories of this town. And I might interject with some of my own memories as I go around. So welcome, and thank you for doing this interview, Pat.
Thank you for coming to the museum. It's a work of love. I don't know how to do museums, but I know a lot of things about the history of the town and my dad and Holiday World and Santa Claus Land and all of that. And so I just decided somebody needed to keep the correct history.
And I'm very happy being a born and raised Santa Claus person, that I do love that. So, well, there's all kinds of things. I mean, there's not only just living and everything.
Right.
You start where your favorite stuff is.
This is the entrance, and I love that Visit Santa Claus Land. That, you all are too young to know. But there were all these little things out on the highways that said, Visit Ruby Falls, which is in Tennessee, right, or Georgia, right around there. And these were our little logo at that time. Everybody knew that. That was the only sign. I think there weren't billboards. And that was in a barn somewhere.
Oh, really?
And I've been very fortunate that a lot of people have wanted to help us in keeping memorabilia. So that's really important to me. And it is actually patented. Nobody can use it but us. But so that's really one of my favorites. Anything that's really old and was part of our family. In here, absolutely, this is all post office, and the Santa Claus post office is such a big history of our town. And the question people ask all the time is, how did this town get its name?
Yeah.
And there's a legend, and there's the truth, and the truth is here in this document, which was 1856. And I think the cool thing about that is, we used to call it Santa Fe, and then it became Santa Fe. They decided that we needed a post office in this little town, which existed down that road.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
And they were gathered together in the grocery store, which we have a picture of right there.
Right here?
Which is the town meeting place. And there's my father behind there. Once again.
Oh, the Santa Claus?
Yeah, that's
fun. Oh, that's fun.
I mean, the thing about that document is that they were going to call it something else. And somebody wrote Santa Claus with an E, and that's not correct.
I didn't know that.
But the most important thing is that the person, it says Nicholas Fisher. Can you believe that?
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, I didn't make that up.
Oh, that is so neat. It was meant to be.
Yeah, it was meant to be.
Yeah, so much.
All of these are documents from later. Sometimes the town had a small c. Sometimes it was one word before computers. But at any rate.
So 1856 was the first post office.
When the post office was named and officially recognized by Washington City.
Washington City, okay. And there was three post offices, right? Correct?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Buildings.
Buildings.
Be very careful. There were post office buildings, only one post office. A really wonderful thing, and we need to move back here, is that this little town of Santa Fe, and this is from the Spencer County book in 1879, it actually had streets marked off.
Wow.
And if now it's all up there. That was all down this road. And it had a general merchandise store, a grist mill, a hotel, restaurant, and bar. Candy Castle was not there. The church meeting hall, the blacksmith shop, the barber shop, the home of the postmaster, a school. And I knew where the school was.
Where was it?
Well, if you go down this road on the right, kind of on the knoll across from the castle.
Oh, okay.
And I have pictures of the school children.
Oh, very neat.
And a creamery, and of course the statue was up here. The statue has never been down there. So I think it's amazing to have these things, and thank God, that we can get all this information now. It's an original table from the early post office. It's been, you can see, I wish it had not been refinished as well as it has, but it is.
They did too good of a job, right?
I showed you the picture. There's the picture of the village. This is the village with all the early townspeople. I just love this history, the creamery certification. This is the town that I remember with the gravel roads.
And where is that, right? Like if I were in the town right now, where is that?
Okay. The Candy Castle is going to be right here.
Oh, okay. Got it.
You asked what's really special to me, pictures of the statue, because this is my brother and I in front of the statue. Probably, I would bet, in the 1940s. I was born in 31, I'm probably, 10 maybe on that. And Dad loved to take our pictures over here. Pictures of the construction of the statue, which are very interesting because if you see up there, the base is like a star.
And the original statue was there, right?
The original statue.
You just refinished it a little bit, right?
1935, and here it is in the early years. I would love to recreate this picture.
Oh.
Yes, and I think the statue is just
It's beautiful.
wonderful.
It is.
This is the dedication, and here is Santa Jim. Here is my brother. Here is me. Here is my mother, and I could probably, this is Adeline, and I know most of these people on this picture.
And just so people know, that was your dad. Because some
dad.
people may be watching.
Santa is real.
Santa is real.
Yes. We had to redo the statue. It was crumbling.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kept pieces from the old one because I wanted to keep those. There was a wishing well. There's a picture. People always ask that question. And there was a wishing well right to the right of the statue. And this is the Good Fellowship Club. That's how they raised some money to build the statue. And that was sold right there. They're just in town, and this will tell you all about it. And one of them was Harris, Milton Harris. He did the castle and the little other place, the toy building. Carl Barrett did this.
Okay.
And so they were fighting each other about land, and then the war started and everything stopped.
Okay.
Everything stopped, and that will tell the whole story of that. So later the statue was bought by different people once it was painted red. And I love it. It's concrete.
Yeah.
And we just got it clean. It looks, I just love that statue. I love it, love it, love it. In here we have a lot of old antique toys that I'm trying to preserve. Have a lot more, just don't have room to put them out. And pictures of Santa Jim and all of his with people and the sleighs. There's a whole nother story about all the sleighs. My brother and I rode on the chassis, if you know what a chassis is, the body, somewhere up to like past Jasper for them to build the sleigh, and then it was motorized.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
There are pictures of that also. And
this is like my favorite because it reminds me as a kid at Santa Claus Land, just that whole backdrop and everything.
This is another kind of favorite, and this is in front of Santa Claus Land at the very beginning. These were the people that worked there, and they're also Bill's brothers, my husband, Bill Koch, and my Santa Jim right here. But that was that Bavarian building that faces the highway.
Oh,
and of course,
okay.
now it's the back.
Yeah.
And now it's covered, so you don't see that. But, the history is that Grandpa Cook came here and said, he had 9 children, It's a town called Santa Claus, and there's nothing for them to
So
do.
that was the first thing built.
1946.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so he decided to build that building. And then when my husband got out of the Second World War, he has to come up here and take it over.
My grandma was one of the cooks in there. Like she
I'm
actually
sure she was. She's probably on the
She was one. I think she even has a plaque about
You're
something.
talking about Josephine.
Yes.
Josephine, and remember them cooking.
They were really good cooks.
Great cooks, great cooks. So we had a German band. That was great. There are just so many little things. We have created a display of letters because people love to see the letters. You all know that letters have been answered since 1914. So we start in the 1930s. So that's been a long time. This is when my dad got involved. So this is what I had, which is letters that he had. And then we have the 40s and 50s. And the interesting part about it is this is a history of toys. It's a history of children.
That's true.
It's a huge history.
You can see the evolution of just things in general through all these letters.
Exactly. Would say, send to St. Louis Legion Post if he had a child that was needy, and the Legion would take care of it. I've tried to do that, but you get the answer like, oh, well, are they on our list? Have they applied? We don't, it's more difficult than it was then. But these are letters from the 1930s, 40s, 50s. We did them every 10 years. Because last year we did helped Santa answer 31,000 letters.
Oh, wow, in one season.
And that's one of my favorite things to do. So it's tonight to 2018, so we need to upgrade it and get the next couple of years. But at first they were asking for underwear and socks and gloves, and now they're asking for iPads and boxes. I don't even understand.
I don't even know what it is.
Gift shop, it's all we have. And we do try to support local artisans.
Okay.
With what
So if
they
anybody
do.
wants to make something local that supports the area, that would be
We
great.
do, yes. And that was in the basement of that campground home where we lived before it burned. Those sleighs were made down in that toy shop that is falling apart across from the castle. And Dad had saved several. They sent those out as gifts and put candy in the back. So there are all kinds of things that,
Very neat.
people in there were doing that, making sleighs. Some things about the Koch family because they started Santa Claus Land and what Bill Koch did with US 231 and 64, and that's Grandpa there. This is a picture of him in John Kennedy's office.
Oh, so you went to the White House?
Yes, I was there in the Oval Office at that time. And he's standing behind John Kennedy when they made Lincoln the National Memorial. So Santa Claus memorabilia that I got off eBay. You have to find things. People do send things and bring things. Only little cap I've ever seen.
So what's your favorite thing in here of all the little...
Well, I love the little cap.
The little cap?
Yeah.
What was this, just sold in the gift shop?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Animal show.
And that was Will's. Will did the show.
I didn't know that.
Will did the show with the educated animals. They came out.
Now, I remember a zoo at one time when I was young. It was like a little petting zoo, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do remember the petting zoo.
Yes. And then Ed Reinhardt, who's one of our board directors, he bought this train, or his parents gave it to him, and he donated it. It works, but we are very careful with it.
Yeah.
And then one of my very favorite things is this little milk carton, because there aren't many of them. I looked a long time to get one. I knew that he worked with Holland Dairy. There was 25-cent coupon on there. Of course, this is my tribute to my dad, who was Santa's favorite helper. And I sent this, I had got plenty of pictures. I got a wax figure made. I had saved his boots and his belt and his suit and his hat. And this was what was behind him.
This is iconic to me.
Yes.
Like everything when I was young, this is my memory.
Yeah. So and in here, which is really, this is the suitcase that when he went out, look at that old suitcase.
Oh, that's what he used?
That's what he used. And he always read from this book. He always read from the
night before Christmas.
And the good boys and good girls was always up above him if you look at pictures. She used to tell the story. She washed his suits, and I have pictures of her hanging them on the wash line. And she always said the right knee was always worn out. The velvet was all worn. And sometimes children would wet on his knee. And so that made it, they had to be washed and gotten back into service. So he had several suits. And he was very particular about the fur and everything that had to do with that. So the belt buckle, he wanted everything to be perfect. And he, he
was very good.
The most wonderful thing my father taught me was that Santa Claus is real.
I agree.
It's not just a story. It is, Santa Claus is real. And we hope that spirit continues for all of our lives. One of the most famous pictures of Santa Jim.
Yeah.
And of course nowadays he could not have a pipe. That would be terrible. And that is really the way he looked, and all the letters around him that was his life.
When did he start doing the letters?
In the 30s.
In the 30s.
Mm-hmm. He saw that the postmaster was so busy, and he thought that was way too much with all the other mail, so he asked for the help of the American Legion, the Sisters of Ferdinand, the priests at St. Leonard, the typing class at Dale High School, and he had always had boxes of letters in his car that he was taking out and getting answered. So
how many people help today? I mean, a lot.
Well, you can't really count people.
They're just coming.
There are really loyal volunteers. Some of them that come 5 days a week, and then there are people who come once.
Yeah,
and then
all time helps.
Like the banks bring a group at night, and some teachers come at night, and we did get foreign exchange students, but probably won't this year.
That would be a fun Christmas thing. I think we might do that as an office. There we go.
People really have a good time, and we laugh and we cry and we talk about the letters, and I think it's a ministry.
Yes.
I really do. I think it's a great thing, and I do nothing else.
Everybody needs hope, and they need to get that response.
And Kara, the thing is that children believe still.
They do.
Is a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a miracle because they can see all this information. And we get a lot of them to say, "Are you real?" My friends at school say you're not real. And then we always write back, "Look, I sent you this letter. I am real, believe,"
Yeah.
And the parents say, "Oh, it was so great. They were so excited." And that makes me happy.
The history of everything right here a little bit, isn't it?
Well, I visited somewhere else, and I saw they had done a timeline. I thought, wow, that's a great idea. But we stopped in 2009, so we need another one.
We need another board down here.
Yeah.
So the post office was 1856.
Yeah.
And then Santa Claus Land was 1946. 46? And you were the first theme park, right?
Yes.
People do not realize that.
Yes.
It was not Disney World.
No. And Ronald Reagan visited during that time, and he was employed. And we thought that it was the Disney people that were trying to find out what we were doing here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Just like obviously, which I'm very involved with doing homes right now, it was 67. So I was 68 is what I was thinking, but most of the homes were 69
that's
and beyond.
When the golf course opened.
Okay.
It's in 68. And Natalie was born in 67, and I remember riding in that station wagon through that with the roads bumpy and trees hitting the side.
It's come a long way, hasn't it?
The houses are going to be here, and I'm like, really? Okay.
Would they be shocked looking back at really what all evolved out of it?
Yeah.
It's a great community.
This is the Lake Rudolph at the campground.
Okay.
And it was open, had cabanas, and we went there every day. They gave swimming lessons, and we had a water show there, a ski show.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So we spent a lot of time on that. People came from all over. From Dale and Lamar, and we all met down here and brought our picnic baskets and had a great time. Great summer. The Santa Claus Land. So,
when did it change to Holiday World? What year?
It's on there, 84.
84, okay. I remember I was...
See, right here it is, 1984.
Okay. And then I remember I was the first Safari Sam when they opened the water park.
The church is really beautiful. It was built in 1880, but it was chartered in 1853. So the charter for the church is even more important. That must have been the congregation.
Is it the first church that was here?
As far as we know.
Okay.
And so it was down in the woods, and it was the windows were being broken. There were animals in it. It had leaks. The pot-bellied stove was coming apart. And so I asked if I could buy it, and finally got an okay, and had it. And there's a movie of it in there, of it being moved up here.
Yeah, I remember when it was coming down the street the day you moved it.
It needs a lot of work right
now.
Well,
it's a great church, lots of memories. So I'm glad you did preserve it, and it's here.
We're working on getting people that know how to restore buildings like that. It shouldn't look new, but it needs work inside and outside. It's beautiful, and everything inside is the original.
So this is actually where I sat for my first communion in this church.
Original post office building, there's lots of history behind that, and I have some pictures of it. It was, when I got it, it was the dollhouse at Holiday World.
Okay, which I remember, that's where I cooled off.
And people didn't visit much.
Yeah.
And it was at the bottom of the hill. And so I said to my son, Will, could I have that? I'd like to have that. Sure, it's not very important. So I had it moved and then made it look more like a post office. And in the back of it is where we help Santa do the letters in normal times.
I know Christmas time is coming up, and a lot of people like to come and write letters to Santa Claus. Just so everybody knows, this year, due to COVID, you do have to make a reservation to come into the post office building that is here at the museum. This takes money too to help run things and support it. If someone wants to help donate money and or just volunteer for the letters, where can they send it?
We love that.
We just want to make sure that if you do want to help donate to the museum, where can they send it?
Santa Claus Museum and Village, but you can just say Santa Claus Museum or Santa Claus Elves.
Okay.
P.O. Box 1.
P.O. Box 1.
Hard to remember. Santa Claus, Indiana, 47579. Dreams of doing more, so that is great.
You keep dreaming. I love your dreams. They motivate me.
Even Will, when I said, well, I'd really like to start a museum. Mom, what do you know about a museum? Nothing, but I have a lot of memories and I have a lot of material, and I think you just dig in and start doing it.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, and the rest will follow.
Yes. So,
well, I really, really appreciate the interview and telling us your stories around the museum. I think even visitors that come that are watching this, as well as the locals that have been living and seeing the history as we, create this town. So it's a wonderful town, and I'm a very happy person to be able to grow up here.
Thank you. We've done we really have. The town has really grown a lot in good ways, I think.
Yes.
A lot of good ways. For the people who want to come, and that's it. They really want to come, and they want to see something when they get here. They want to have something to do. So, we have to be ready. We have to be hospitable and welcoming and thanking them for coming. And, in former years, we had a storyteller in the church at Christmas, and people just came and loved it. And of course, the castle has their famous frozen hot chocolate that people just love, and the Christmas store, and all the toy shop. Toy store, there are more for people to do, and that's what we have to keep doing, but not make it commercial. We always have to keep our hometown feeling.
I agree. So come visit Santa Claus Indiana.
Exactly. You're welcome.
I hope you enjoyed our tour of the Santa Claus Museum. I'm so happy and grateful Mrs. Koch toured us around the museum with her wealth of information. I just love hearing stories, especially since I'm born and raised here. Again, if you're new to our channel, make sure you subscribe. And remember, we're local realtors. And until next time, we'll see you then.